What is up, everyone, and welcome back to Across the Board, sponsored by MoneyBall Metrics. You have your two normal hosts, myself, Alpha Dog Bets, here with JD from Line Movers, but we have a frequent friend of the show. We have Hefe Picks, who's been absolutely killing his MLB bets. We're here in the playoffs, fellas. It's day two. Crazy day one of action yesterday. Hefe, I'm going to start with you. How are you today?
Doing good, man. I'm doing good. I love the wild card schedule. I know that they could put all the games at night and stack them, make doubleheaders. But who doesn't love a good afternoon baseball game with crazy implications?
Could not agree more. We had a pretty crazy day one yesterday. We had a couple surprising games. I thought the Royals game was a bit surprising to see that go 1-0 the entire way. Scooball was unbelievable in that one. The Mets game was great as well. We did see a ton of runs there. And the Padres were typical Padres when Michael King was on the bump. JD, I know that's your guy. How are you today?
Great, man. Yeah, King went out there and he pitched absolutely great. I believe he struck out 12. He just had an absolutely great game. Being a Braves fan, it sucks. But the spot that they were in was just about as worse as you can possibly be. So today should actually be an interesting game.
Chris Sale, man. I think that's going to be the death of this team. He really needed to go in there with his 18-3 record, whatever it is. He's been lights out all year and have a big performance, and they did not get that out of him. They are on the brink of elimination. And guys, I did want to point out before we do get into the games today that this is since the start of this format of the wild card series. This is, I believe, the third year of it that the team has won. The first game is 8-0 in the series. So just something to keep in mind. It's only a 3-game series, and it's really hard to come back down one in this type of series. Like I said, all others in this spot have gone 8-0 after going 1-0 in the opening round of the wild card. Joe is with us. Joe is saying, "What's up, boys? Time for an early retirement. Let's get it, my brother." We have some winners for you today. Footy's in the chat, commenting random soccer crap. Thanks for being here, Footy. No one cares about Bayern when MLB playoffs are here. So, fellas, we're going to dive into the first game of the slate. You boys ready to get into it?
Yes, sir.
Let's get it, fellas. First one today is going to be that Tigers versus Astros series. Pitching for the Tigers is Tyler Holton. Pitching for the Astros is Hunter Brown. Hefe, Tigers up 1-0. Do they close it out today? What are you liking?
I was really impressed with the Tigers yesterday. Actually, let me backtrack. I was really impressed with Tariq Skubal yesterday. He came out and did exactly what he was supposed to do. Quiet an Astros lineup that is not used to being quiet in the playoffs. He pitched phenomenally, and even the bullpen came in after him and finished the job. I can't imagine the Astros have that bad of a day at the plate as they had yesterday today, especially with Holton going on the mound. I thought the manager for the Tigers, AJ Hinch, put it perfectly. He said before yesterday's game, he said, Game 1, we're going Skubal. Rest of the series, pitching chaos. And that's literally what it is. No offense to the rest of the Tigers, starting pitchers and bullpen. They're not Skubal. He's winning the Cy Young. Hunter Brown on the other side has been one of the best pitchers the second half of the season, post All-Star break. An ERA hovering around 2. He's faced the Tigers twice this year. 12 innings, 16 strikeouts, 1 run in those 2 starts versus the Tigers. I think he could quiet the bats, and I think on the other side, the Astros put together some runs. I'm seeing like a 5-1 victory for Houston today. I'm taking the under 7.5 as my official play.
I respect that. And guys, when you take a look at how the Houston lineup has done against Holton in their career, you put it perfectly. They saw him twice this year. They have a combined 3 hits. Most of their guys got out in both at bats. Let's see who it was. It was Chas McCormick, who's the 9-hitter, got a single off him. Diaz also got a single off him, and so did Kyle Tucker. Everyone else in the lineup is either 0 for 1 or 0 for 2. They all have seen him, but they have had limited success. On the other side, Detroit against Hunter Brown has had some success, not a ton of success. Riley Green is 3 of 10, batting 300. C. Keith is batting 600. Vierling's batting 333, and Meadows is batting 500. So this Detroit lineup has had more success against Brown than how the other team has done against Holton. So that's something to put into perspective. I see this game very similarly to you. I see a low-scoring game like we saw yesterday. I just think it's too high of a total at a 7.5. I think this one stays low. And I do think the Astros get back in it. They may be the first team to come back from down 1-0 in this new style of format with these wild cards the way that they are doing it. However, it's not my favorite play of the day. I do think this one does go under, but it's not my favorite play. Like I said, there's some more games that I think we have a better edge. So it is a play for me, but it's not an official play that will make best bets. JD, what do you like in the opening game?
Just actually like you just said, with actually this format here, the teams that actually start 1-0, they've all won the series. I don't have the stats in front of me, but I believe 7 of those actually have been sweeps.
Yes, 7 of 8.
Yeah, so that is a very actually interesting stat here. To me, the Astros, this is a must-win game, and the market has definitely priced them like that. I have this priced as the Astros they actually should be favored here, but I have them at actually minus 125. They're obviously way actually over that. To me, if you're just looking for straight value, this just has to be an actual Tigers play. They actually do have Holton. He's actually going to open the game. He's actually probably going to go 2 innings at actually most. Then I believe that Reese Olson is actually going to be coming in after him. And then after that, like what was said, it's just going to be a chaos game. And actually, AJ Hinch, I think in this series, he's the kind of actually he is I can't find the right words. But anyway, he is making all of the right moves.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, he's been there before, done that, literally.
Yeah. And I think that this is that game where now they're just going to pull out everything to actually get this game done. So me getting the Tigers here at a plus 157, I cannot pass that one up. I will say, though, if you do like the Astros to win, I would not lay this much juice. I would I would take them on the series price, just actually like Footy said there.
Yeah, you beat me too, and I was waiting to put that in there and ask you guys how you feel. Would you rather play a minus 180 or would you rather play the plus 150, which are the current odds?
Plus 150, I don't have an easy explanation. In a weird way, this is the Detroit Tigers Game 7 of the World Series.
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say? If they lose today, I know that there's a Game 3. I know they live to see another day. I don't think they win. This is their only chance to win this series.
I feel the exact same way. You put it perfectly. There's no need for me to comment on that. I think that if you do like the Astros today, take them to win the series at the plus 150. There's no value on betting them at minus 180. You can parlay it if you like the Orioles as well today. That's another team that is projected to potentially come back in this series, but I just rather you get a plus 150 value on that. If you do like that play, take the series winner. I think if they win this game, it's pretty clear they should be able to go on and beat up on that battered Tigers pitching in Game 3. Fellas, that's a great segue into the second game, which we saw an absolute snoozer. Bobby Witt with the only RBI here, Royals versus the Orioles, and it was a 1-0 win. It was a top of the 6th run for the Royals here. Today for the Royals, we have Seth Lugo on the bump. He's been one of their better pitchers of the year. For the Orioles, Zach Eflin, not a guy I've loved to trust this season at all, someone we've faded frequently on this show. Hefe, Game 2, Royals at the Orioles. Winner takes on our Yankees. Who do you want to see, and who do you think gets it done today?
Who I want to see and who I think it gets it done are both the same team. I think the Royals take it, guys. I think the Orioles are going to have exactly what happened to them last year, if you remember, happened to them this year. If I recall, last year they were in the wild card, and I think it was the Rangers that took them. At home, Orioles were the top seed too. It just kind of seemed like yesterday I kind of caught that game, and I don't know if it was just one of those games where not a lot of things were going on. Stadium just seemed dead. I get it. It was a Tuesday. That was an afternoon game too, 4:00. It just seemed dead. There was no action going on. Lugo is the Royals, you could even say, co-ace along with Raggins, who pitched unbelievable yesterday.
Yeah,
let's talk about Eflin for a second. So Eflin, between the Rays and obviously he got traded to the Orioles at the trade deadline, started 28 games this year. His worst opponent's batting average percentage, his worst game of the year, was against the Kansas City Royals, where he gave up a 318 batting average. I know the Royals have barely made it into the playoffs. They literally crawled their way into the playoffs.
Yep.
And somehow, I think they win this game, and they find themselves in the DS at Yankee Stadium on Saturday. Give me the Royals plus 130 on the money line.
I like that. JD, before I go, what do you like in this game?
I like the exact same thing. To me, it's actually just like the first game. This is it's a must-win game, and the market just has them way actually overpriced here. It's one of those things where I think if you take both dogs here, actually like one of them hits.
Yeah, that's the
so
problem.
yeah, actually like so actually like that's like how this feels to me. You know, it's actually as far as actually Eflin goes, he's just not my guy. I don't think he's very good.
I agree.
If you look at his like innings and actually everything throughout the season and last year, he's actually pitched quite a bit. And I was looking at his actual velo, and it's been dropping throughout the whole year. So that is not good. That actually arm of his is like just seems like it's starting to just actually die out here. So the Royals, the offense, just like I said yesterday, I really don't want to back them, but this is a spot with him and then this O's actually bullpen where I think they can get runs here. So yeah, I can actually get the Royals here at a plus 132. So I am going to be all over that.
I'm in the same boat as you boys. I'm taking the Royals as well at the plus 132. I don't think there's any value at the minus 150 on the Orioles. And this one kind of similar to the first game. Whoever wins this, I do think will advance in the series. And the Royals, I know they backed their way into the playoffs, but this Orioles team, the second half of the season, didn't impress anybody. The Yankees had a terrible second half, and it seemed like every night the Yankees kept stumbling. So did the Orioles. The Orioles have a lot of young players. They have not all done well in the playoffs prior, and I do think that is going to be a big factor in this game. There's a lot of pressure on them as well. There's way more pressure on the Orioles than there is on the Royals. The Royals are not supposed to be here. The Orioles were supposed to be the best team in the AL this year. It was either them or the Yankees. They were good, but they weren't quite as good as I expected them to be, and I think that they felt that as well. Ton of pressure, like I said, and yesterday to not even get a run on the board was pretty concerning to show how this team is mentally adapting to this situation. Give me the Royals on the plus 130, and JD, you put it perfectly. We just have to hit either the Royals or your Tigers to get something in the plus money. I think at least one, if not both, will go that way. So let's see the Royals get it done today.
Let me ask you a question before we move on. So the Orioles, man, if they lose this game, they're kind of in an interesting spot. Like, all the talk was, oh my God, all these young players, the pipeline is loaded. They're going to be so good forever. Burns is a free agent. I don't think they re-sign him. I'm not sure about Eflin, who I'm not sure if he's a free agent, but maybe a year left. Their trade line acquisition, Eloy Jimenez, got designated for assignment. So did their closer, right? So this is a team whose pitching rotation is in absolute disarray. This loss could be a big one for their future.
Yes, but I don't think they're a team that's going to kind of get rid of the star young nucleus that they've built over the last 5-6 years, having so many terrible seasons, accumulating those top picks and hitting on those picks. This year was definitely disappointing so far for the Orioles. And I mean, it's not over yet. They still definitely have a chance. Sure. But I do think it has been rather disappointing. And their trade deadline acquisitions didn't really make sense at the time. They got a lot of relievers that are still not on the team either. They got a couple guys from the Phillies that have been DFA'd or did not make the wild card roster either. They really have been in a tough spot since they lost their closer, Bautista, for the year. He really has been dynamic. He has been fantastic the last couple of years. So to not have him really did hurt this bullpen. But I do think that Corbin Burns has also been a little bit disappointing as well. He was the big acquisition before the season. He was supposed to be their ace, and he was okay. Don't get me wrong. He wasn't like a Carlos Rodon Yankees situation, but he wasn't great. You know what I mean? He didn't really electrify the building. He didn't get a ton of wins, didn't pitch a ton of great games. So I think they may give him another chance. I think they may bring him back. But guys like Zach Eflin, that's a stopgap. That's not somebody that I think is going to be in their long-term plans. I think they have to get a lot more pitching. You're right about that. That is the true weakness about this team. If they can get a couple more starters in there, I think they'll be retooled and ready to go. Maybe a couple more bullpen arms. Their bats are very good. I know they didn't have a game yesterday, but they do have good bats for the long term. So if I'm an Orioles fan, I'm not freaking out. You really know that you're kind of a couple of years away from being the team in the AL, which they still are. But either way, I still think they need some more pitching, and I wouldn't be too freaked out if I was an Orioles fan. How do you feel, JD?
Man, I have nothing else to add. You just said that perfectly.
Well, I appreciate it. Then let's keep it moving.
Good synopsis.
There we go. Let's keep it moving, fellas, to a game that I absolutely love today, which is going to be the New York Mets taking on the Milwaukee Brewers. The bats stayed hot for the Mets yesterday. They went in a little hole. Luis Severino did not have his best pitching game, but he did enough to keep them in the game long enough for that offense to come alive and take them over the top and to win the game. They put up 8 runs, I believe, and their offense was electric. Today, Sean Manaea is pitching for the Mets. For the Brewers is Frankie Montas. Jefe, what do you like in this one?
So, I mean, the Mets have just been in a groove ever since that game one victory over the Braves. That was one of the best games I've seen in a long, long, long time. And
Sorry,
it seems
JD.
like they're fueling themselves from that. Sorry, yeah. It seems like they're fueling themselves from that. I mean, yesterday, to be down to, I mean, Severino, I believe in that bottom first had bases loaded at one point, got out of it, only giving up 2 runs, and then them to come back from people like Jesse Winkler, you know what I mean? Like everybody's hitting in big spots for the Mets right now. With that being said, this is a very interesting pitching matchup. Sean Manaea. Last time Sean Manaea was on the mound was in Milwaukee on Friday. He did not have a good game. 3.5 innings pitched, 7 hits, 6 runs. Sean Manaea, this will be his 4th playoff start. Previously, he has 3 starts with Oakland and San Diego. 15.26 ERA in those 3 games. That's not good. The Brewers owned the Mets in the regular season, 5-1 out of 6 matchups. I gotta think that the Brewers are going to scrap their way to a victory today, but my official play is the over of 7.5. I am not a Frankie Montas guy. No way, no how. I know he had a half a cup of coffee in the Yankee uniform. I don't even remember that, to be honest with you. But match that with the Mets. Match that with the Mets' ability to kind of just put the ball in play right now, and the Brewers' ability to scrap, steal bases, be a quick team that we know, they can put up runs. I think it's an overplay. Give me over 7.5 and a lean towards the Brewers winning this game.
I like it. Well, not really. I like the over, but I don't like the Brewers aspect of it, guys. Frankie Montas at home this season is 1-7. His record is 1-7. The season is on the line, and they're putting out a guy who at home is 1-7 with a 5.01 ERA at home. Now, am I sure that the Mets get it done? No, but I do think that they are the right side here, but I'm definitely more comfortable on the over. Same thing we played yesterday. It cashed in the 4th inning, over 7.5. I think we see it again. This Mets lineup is hot, and I hate to say this. It pains me. We all know I'm a Yankee fan, but this Mets team is getting hot at the right time. Their bats are coming alive at the right time.
It's giving 2023 Diamondbacks.
Yep. And Rangers, both teams that got hot at the right time, started in the wild card and just kept progressing through the playoffs. It feels the same thing. The one thing I will say is that Montas's last performance was on the 27th against the Mets. They won 8-4. He did go 4 innings. He only gave up 2 runs. However, that game had 12 runs in it total. It still was a 12-run game, 8-4, just like yesterday's game. We should see runs here. I think the Mets get it done, but I'm way more comfortable in the over 7.5. I'll let it out early. That's my favorite play of the entire day. JD, before we get into your Padres, what do you like?
Yeah, guys, I'm on the same page here. This seems like it's almost like a too easy here, but if you look at any numbers whatsoever, I mean, everything says over here. Far as the model, it actually has it at 8.4 runs. So it's saying the over. Y'all actually broke down why actually both teams actually should put up runs here. And yeah, this to me is honestly just a very simple play. But yeah, especially the Mets though. Just like you said, the Mets lineup has gotten really hot now. Because of that, I would have to lean Mets here. The model is also showing a little bit of value on them. But I actually like the over so much more though. So I'm actually going to go that way.
It's kind of crazy that these teams keep playing each other. At least the Mets had that little bit of a Braves series to break it up. This is the 5th game in a row that the Brewers are playing against this Mets team. Kind of crazy that they just played each other so many times in a row. And I think we all see it the exact same way here. One thing that I just stumbled across, fellas, we didn't talk about it earlier, but I do want to bring it up. It's about a previous game, the Orioles. How many playoff games do you think they've lost in a row?
Well, definitely 3. Let me think. I would say 5. More?
9.
9. Today, they're going for a 10th straight playoff loss. They're on -152. So, guys, if anyone's taking the Orioles at a -152, they've lost 9 straight playoff games. That means something. Teams play different in the playoffs. So I did just want to bring that up because I did just stumble across that. That's a crazy stat. 9 straight games.
That speaks to how young they are. They don't have that guy who's going to galvanize the clubhouse. Like the Royals are young, but you know what they have? Salvador Perez, who's been in 2 World Series and won 1. He can calm the guys down and be like, been here before, know what to do. Who on the Orioles is doing that? Adley Rutschman, who got swept last year?
Tough. There's really nobody. I mean, maybe it's Santander, but yet again, guys that just do not have a lot of experience. Maybe Corbin Burns, but hey, he was the guy yesterday, and we all know how that game ended. But enough about that series. He did pitch great, but was it enough? It was not. He didn't galvanize him. He may have pitched a good game, but he didn't get the offense ready. So they need a galvanizer, like you said, and he's obviously not that guy. Mm-hmm. Let's keep it moving, fellas. Last game we have on the slate today is going to be JD's Braves. Will they stay alive, or will his other team, the Padres, take over? JD, there's nothing I can say in this game. This has to be the JD breakdown. Pitching for your Braves is Max Fried. Pitching for the Padres is Joe Musgrove. Do we have a low-scoring game? Do we have a high-scoring game? What do you like in this one?
You know what? Today we have my guy, Max Fried, on the mound.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh, no.
Oh, I can't do it.
Wow. Little fake-out action.
Yeah, Max Fried, him on the road, he is just not the same guy. Far as in the playoffs over the past few years, he has also just actually not done well. To me, if you watched the game last night, the Braves, they just visibly looked tired. They were not the regular Braves team. And just come back tonight again, having to do it again, I just don't see where that's going to change a whole lot. The Braves know with actually like Sale out now, that was their only shot of being able to do anything. With him out, they like know that this is over. They just don't have enough guys. And tonight, I just think the Padres are going to go ahead and just take them out. You have actually Musgrove going. He's obviously been pitching great. We've been backing him and actually Michael King for a few months now. And they've been, just actually both pitching great. To me, I think this line is very cheap. Give me the Padres on the money line at -114.
Here's a little Musgrove stat for you. In his last 3 starts, he's given up a combined 2 earned runs over 18 and a third innings pitch. He has turned it up at the right time and has been electric. JD, I was going to ask you this question because you know more about the Braves than either of us. Do you think that you kind of alluded to it earlier, but do you think the Chris Sale injury mentally checks this team out? Do you think that they don't have the self-belief that they have a chance to make a long run? Maybe they think, we can get it with Fried. We'll be able to get out of the series. But do you think even with that mentality, a lot of the guys may be thinking, we don't have the pitching long-term to be able to get through this kind of postseason?
That combined with how that Mets game 1 went. That game could not have gone any worse. So I think the combination of those two things, it's just done.
One thing I have to say, when Tatis hit that nuke last night, the energy in that stadium was electric. Absolutely electric.
The game was over. The
game was over.
They didn't have to go out for the next 8 innings. It was over.
Straight. You knew when he hit that bomb, too, the crowd was in it. It was going to take a lot to get them out of it. And when you have to beat the crowd and the Padres, it's a tough game. I think I see a similar result here. Fried, the lefty, he may hang something up to one of the righty power bats that the Padres have, and if they're able to get a hold of one, the stadium will electrify. The crowd will be fully in it, and they're already going to be in it because they're up 1-0. I think the Padres get it done, and they close it out. The question I asked you, do I think about the Chris Sale stuff, if that's going to make the team nervous or anything like that and have self-doubt? I think that's a big factor. I think when you're walking out onto the field and you don't believe that you have a chance to win because of who's pitching, similar with NFL, if you don't believe in your quarterback, you're not going to be able to perform at your highest level. And this Padres team has a lot of belief. They have the bullpen, they have the bats, and they have the starters to make a deep run. I just don't think that they're mentally ready, and they know that this is probably going to be their last game today. Hefe, before we go to you, JD, one more thing from you.
As far as lefties, the Padres, have not actually been doing well, especially the past month. But then when you look at Fried's last start against them, I actually believe that he gave up 9 hits. So the Padres do have good vibes actually like against him. And the Padres are just actually like the hottest team currently. I just think that they just continue to just roll here.
I do as well. Hefe, before best bets, what you got?
I'm lockstep in with you guys. Padres money line. I think I think the Braves season ended in that first game with the Mets. It's really simple. Those last 2 innings in that game 1 where they went down, went up, went back down for good, they are exhausted. Then they have to go play another 9-inning, basically playoff game, which the Mets didn't. The Mets didn't care about the last night. The Braves played 18 playoff innings on Monday. then traveled to the West Coast for a night game on Tuesday and struck out 15 times. They were completely exhausted. The only light I give them is that Max Fried is a free agent, probably one of, if not the premier pitching free agent this offseason. He's not going to go out on a bad note. I don't think so. There's too much money. Everybody, for some reason, always remembers that last game that you pitched. That's why, like, Corbin Burns has nothing to be afraid of. He pitched great yesterday. He's going to get his money. I think Max Fried does pitch great today. I think you see a scrappy, low-scoring game where the Padres win 3-1, 4-2 type of deal. So give me the Padres on the money line. Just wanted to say all that about Fried.
I like that. We're all in the same boat. And hey, I know we said earlier the Orioles need a new pitcher. Maybe Max Fried will jump over to another team that can use that. Sorry to say that, JD. I'm sure that you would not like that outcome.
Fried is great, man. I'm shocked they didn't sign him.
Yeah,
me too. Injury history, though. Injury history. More to come when we get to the offseason because we're going to be doing a lot of free agency stuff and breaking down. But I do think the injury history plays a big role in Max Fried. Fellas, we broke down all the games. Everyone's waiting for one thing, and that's for us to get into our MLB best bets. Hefe, do you have one? Do you have two? Do you have three? Or all four?
I have two. I'm going to choose an AL and an NL. I'm going to choose a side and a total. Royals money line. I do not believe in Zach Eflin, and I think the Orioles just are not together as a team right now. It's a rough loss to lose 1-0 at home. Game one, come right back out there and have to get it back going. And then Mets Brewers, the over 7.5. Frankie Montas, you guys said the numbers. Manaea, not great in the playoffs, nor was he great against the same exact team, the Brewers, on Friday. Give me the over 7.5.
All right, I'll go. Usually I go last, but we'll go to me, and then we'll go over to JD. I have three for the people today. Over 7.5 in Milwaukee versus the Mets is my favorite play. My second favorite play is going to be the Padres at -120, and my final third best bet is going to be the Royals at +130. JD, we need your best bets before we go over Footy's best bets that we got in the comments here.
Yes. Let's go with two today. Y'all actually both gave out this one, so I'm actually going to do it too. It's going to give out the Mets Brewers, the over 7.5. You can find it at a -110 currently. Then, like I said, I really hate to do it, but let's actually go with the Padres money line at -114.
The boys are pretty lock and step today on our picks. We're either going to be coming back here tomorrow super hyped up or super pissed off, one or the other. It's going to be great entertainment. Footy Chancellor's in the comments saying Bayern money line. That's probably a -9,000. If you want to take it, go ahead. I wouldn't recommend it, but do whatever you want. Footy, we appreciate that. And fellas, it's been a fantastic show. Like I said, we will be back tomorrow, same time, same place to break down some football plays. Guys, one more quick thing. Today is the last day that we do not have football until Thanksgiving. 55 consecutive days after today, we will have football every single day. I know a lot of people are excited about that. There we go. Footy's saying it's only a -130 for Bayern. So go take Bayern at -130. It's not as bad as I thought. And yet again, we appreciate every one of you. We'll be back tomorrow. JD, say goodbye to the people.
Let's fucking win.
Let's fucking win, dude. Let's go Royals.